Hey, welcome into a very special segment of Mindset Monday with me, Matt. These are episodes where I do my best to share with you the wisdom of what it took to get sober and stay that way and rebuild my marriage, become a better father, a better husband, becoming a better man, what that actually took. When I was going through this, over a decade ago, there weren't a lot of voices in the space that I could really connect with. There weren't people that I felt had really been where I had been before. For the people that were out there, it seemed like polished LinkedIn type content, like they were reading from something, and it just didn't seem to come from the heart. My goal when I started these segments was to impart wisdom upon guys that were where I was then. And I hope that I can be someone that plants little seeds inside of you that grow into something beautiful. And thank you so much to everyone that reached out this last week. It means the world. I recorded an episode recently. I don't remember how long ago it was, where I was talking about how sometimes this feels like a really dark and lonely place, being on this side of the camera and microphone and just not knowing if you're reaching anyone, and seeing spouse after spouse after spouse come to us needing help, and me so badly wanting to stop that cycle and reach guys. And it's, again, what we are able to do for people, spouses and partners, is it'll probably be the greatest culmination of my life's work by the time it's all said and done, not just being a father and a husband, but knowing that we were able to help so many people, thousands and thousands of people that were helped by the work that we do here every week. But I look at it like, what's the root of all of this? And it's us, it's guys like me. And if I can prevent this for one more person moving forward, then that, I feel, is my part in what we're doing here, not just being a voice that's validating for spouses and partners, but as someone that holds guys accountable. Like I was held accountable a lot of the times by myself, but by some other really important men in my life. And I feel it's my part, as a male creator in this space, to hold you guys accountable too, whenever you can't. And I would love for you to pay this forward someday, and you keep showing other people how to do what you did. And if I can share with you and you can share with someone else, then we've prevented hell for women and children everywhere. And I feel like that's my job. That's what I'm here to do. So thank you for you guys that reached out. There were some awesome questions that were asked in a lot of these emails and messages and DMs and things like that. And I'm going to go through some of these. It's a bit of a lazy episode in that regard, because I didn't sit down and write a bunch of stuff. I've still got some writing to do. But the reason I said it's a really special episode is because today is our 25th anniversary, me and Paige. 25 years together. It's a quarter of a century, and I knew we'd be here. I always knew that we would get here. I didn't realize it would have been as rocky maybe as it was, because of me in so many ways, but I knew that we'd get here. Till the wheels fall off was something that we used to say to each other all the time. It was kind of our battle cry for one another. When stuff would get really difficult, I would look at her and she would look at me, and we would say, till the wheels fall off. It's you and me until the wheels fall off. That's where the title of our show came from. And it had a singular meaning for us, but it's become something so much bigger for so many other people. It's become a battle cry for so many people's individual personal growth journeys. Regardless if you're in that relationship now or not, it's meaningful. Till the wheels fall off, I'm going to keep going. Till the wheels fall off, I'm going to keep digging deeper. Till the wheels fall off, I'm going to keep going. That's what I hope it means for you. But it's a special day. It's a really, really special day. And it's wild. I feel like getting together so young, there aren't a lot of people our age that are celebrating 25 years together. And so I don't know why, I just never did the math. I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I always figured at like our 25th anniversary, we'd be going on some luxury cruise and the kids would be like calling us from college, but we got together when we were 14. So our kids are middle school, about to go into high school. And so our 25th anniversary will probably look a lot different than most people's. It's a Monday night, and man, there's like kids activities going on tonight. There's not we've got some plans this summer to spend some time with each other and really celebrate this, but it's not, to be honest, it's not as special as we'd hoped. We kind of had a teary moment about this earlier in the week where we're so proud of who we are and what we've accomplished as a couple and as parents. And I feel like we do a really, really bad job at celebrating ourselves. So for what it's worth, I'm here with you guys and you can help celebrate with us. We would love to hear from you, kind words of how the show's impacted you and what it means to you. We'll celebrate our anniversary together. But It's been a really reflective time this last week or two. It snuck up on us, honestly. It really did. Like the holidays rolled around and that's just a whirlwind. And then we rolled in the first of the year, kind of get back on track. And then we have this massive winter storm that kind of screws things up. And like, frankly, we both just kind of realized last week, it's like, holy crap, our anniversary's next week. And we're not gift givers. We don't do that. We've stopped doing that a long time ago. We don't do like big anniversary gifts or anything like that. We typically like to invest in experiences. And so we'll go on a trip or something. But in February, when you've got 2 kids in school, like, what are you going to do? You know, like, what are you going to do? Like, anywhere you can drive is going to be barren with leaves and it's not going to be pretty and you're going to be freezing. We tried glamping one year and that was rough. Like a winter storm blew through and we were freezing our asses off in this like canvas tent. I remember waking up shivering in the middle of the night and having to like stoke this wood stove fire. It was a mess. You know, we enjoyed an awesome dinner together, but just what are you going to do? You know, so we'll wait till the weather warms up and then we'll really celebrate it over the summer. This is also the year we both turned 40. And so it's a big year, a lot of milestones here, 25-year anniversary, 40th birthdays for both of us. And so we'll do something monumental this summer. We've got some awesome things planned with each other. And also the show may look a little different. The spring is coming up and that's the time that baseball starts back up. That's the time that dance competitions start back up. And as you know, I coach baseball for my son. I love doing that. From the moment that we had kids, I knew that I wanted to coach their teams or be involved in some way, any way that I could, regardless of what they decided to do. They could have done theater and I would have found a way to be involved, even though it's never my thing. I would do it for them. I would find a way to love it and enjoy that. And so my son is not on 1, but 2 teams this year. We're doing the travel baseball thing as well as the recreational league. And it's going to be a lot. And we're going to do our best to show up here every single week for you guys. But we've always said it. We are parents first. We are podcasters like third. You know, we're parents and we're a married couple. And then we have careers. And then the podcast is something we truly enjoy doing and making content to help people. But priorities, man, priorities. And we know that you guys understand. You've always been amazing. Whenever we have to take breaks, we'll do our best to create content, even if it's short, sweet stuff, maybe more short form things like that. Maybe we'll film some vlogs, something like in the process of living life. I think that's something that I would like to do, honestly, because I come here every week with like a lecture or a lesson, but I think it would be really cool to show you guys like what day-to-day looks like for us, not from like a flashy Instagram, like influencer style of video, like, oh, look at us. It's not like that at all. Like, here's how we solve real world problems. Here's how we communicate. Here's how we talk to one another. Whenever things get tense, here's how we deal with it. I think that would be really awesome. I even had it. We've wanted to do retreats and things like that before. And one of my ideas was to take people who were in pretty early sobriety and with their couples and like, let's go out to dinner and let's figure out how to be around this stuff and how to hold space for one another. Let's see what it's like whenever there's alcohol around and like how you'll respond to that and how you talk about that with one another. Let's talk about some of these. I think that would just be so cool because you can talk about it in like an episode and we can theorize what it's like, but it would be so cool to be there, like boots on the ground with people. Tons of ideas. We just need to find the time to do it. But you guys make that more and more possible every single week whenever you support the show, whenever you leave us a review, whenever you share it out, whenever you do all this stuff. Like, cannot thank you enough. It would be my dream, I could say for sure, to do this all the time. But another way you can do that, support the show, is through our website, twfo.com. We've got a website and we've got fun merch on there. We've got beanies we just released. I'm not wearing one now, but because it warmed up to a whopping 55 today, so I didn't need a beanie. But we've got beanies on the website. We've got hoodies. We've got sweatshirts. We've got t-shirts. These are really cool. These are really relevant. This is a recovery rock. Let me get that in focus real quick. It's got our logo on the front and on the back it says, "Thank you for being my rock." They're not all black. They're rock colors. This one's just black and I thought it was cool. So it's the one I leave up here on the studio table. But awesome way to acknowledge the path or the journey that your loved one has walked with you through getting sober and the shithead that you were. Because I know that I was. And it's really cool. Just it's a way they can look at that and you guys can look at that. It means it's so much coming from you to surprise them with that, especially if you're both listeners. It's awesome. Every time I see one of those things go out, like get an order for one, like my heart just gets warm. I love that so much. You can also, if you think our merch is just hideous and you want to support the show anyway, go to our social media, any of our social media pages, click the link tree, and you can buy us a cup of coffee. And that's awesome. You can give as much or as little as you would like. You can set it up on a monthly recurring thing to help with our monthly expenses, editing and lights and cameras and subscriptions and soundboards, this blinking thing over here, all that stuff. Or you can give nothing, and guess what? We're going to love you all the same. Doesn't mean we don't love you anymore, any less, I should say. But thank you so much to everyone that has supported the show. Like, you guys make this worth it. Really, you do. It means everything to me. But anyway, 25th anniversary. This is crazy. I always knew we'd get here. I don't know. I guess when we first met, I just imagined it'd be more linear than it was. Didn't realize we'd have all the setbacks, but now in hindsight, like, I think that is maybe what made the journey so meaningful. We can look at each other and like, we really have been through hell and back. Paige and I like to say that we've lived 3 lives together. We lived our life before all this, when we were just young, naive kids, met at 14, 25 years ago today. I was mustering up the courage to ask out what I thought was the prettiest girl I'd ever seen in my life. And I didn't even know that she liked me. It was a moonshot for me, but she told me later that she'd been waiting on me to ask her out for many, many, many weeks. And so she was about to get bored with me because she thought I would never do it. But I was in biology class and I was asking everyone around me, like, should I do this? Like, do you think she would say yes? And then I did, and I kissed her. And man, I knew, this sounds crazy, but I knew even then that this was the person that I wanted to spend my entire life with. This was the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I wanted to raise kids. I wanted to get married. I wanted to grow old. I wanted to take care of her. I wanted to be everything that I felt she deserved. I wanted to be the best man possible. I never wanted to give her a reason to ever look elsewhere, and to be happy with the choice that she made with me. And I think from the beginning, she felt the same way about me. And I think that's really rare. We were committed from the very beginning. Like, there was never a point where I was like, well, I'm going to go to college. What are you going to do? It was like, no, we're just going to go together. There was a point where she almost got transferred to another city, like 250 miles away. And I was like, well, I guess we'll just have to go there. There was never a question that we were going to do things together. We were just going to figure it out, man. She was my rock and I was hers. And we were going to figure it out. The closest we ever came, I think, was probably addiction that damn near broke us. And you guys know that story. It was 2013. We'd been together at that point for, I guess, 11 years. We got married in 2011. So I always thought there'd be some event, I guess, that got me sober and that like made me grow up. Going through our teenage years and like my 20s and college, like, I partied really hard and I loved it. I loved an altered state of mind, and I thought it was something that I could manage. And I saw other people kind of doing it with impunity. And, this is just how adults are. You can party, you can cut up a little bit, but everyone grows out of it and then you grow up. And I always just thought there'd be some event, I guess, in my life that would make me grow up. But in the back of my mind, I knew that there wouldn't be any such event because I knew I liked it more than most people. I really did. Like, I felt like I needed it to function in a lot of ways. And I felt like I functioned better with it, scary enough. And so graduated college, nothing changed. We got married, nothing changed. We had kids, nothing changed. Career, nothing ever changed it. Every event just came and went, and I kept getting worse. And I felt her pulling from me. I felt that connection that we had where we were always just such on the same page, where I didn't even have to wonder about where Paige stood, and she never had to wonder about where I stood. Like, we truly knew each other, and I felt known by her. And that started to distance. I felt that slipping. And people always ask, like, what was it that your wife finally did? Like, was it like firm boundaries? Was it a conversation you had? Like, no, it was me seeing her slip. It was me watching her and the light fade from her eyes. And I could just tell, like, I had a sixth sense for that connection that we had, and it was starting to drift. And then I had enough self-awareness to know that I was not living up to the promises that I'd made her our whole lives, and being the man that I'd promised to be, and watching our lives kind of diverge. And she started to live a life kind of her own, but it wasn't really her own. It was the life I promised to live with her. I just wasn't participating. Going to family dinners and family outings and all this stuff that she had planned to do with our newborn daughter. And I wasn't up for it. And she didn't stop doing those things just because I didn't feel like it, or I wasn't in the mood, or because I was withdrawing, or because I'd rather drink, or rather use around the house, or I was too lazy because I was too stoned, or any of that stuff. She just kept doing her thing. And I knew, man, I know her well enough to know that I only had a short period of time before that would be it. That would be it. And it was April of 2013 that I decided to do something about that. And I checked into treatment and I started to get sober and rebuild, and then started to focus on, really like, what is our life? What has to change within me in order to become that person? And it turns out there was a lot. And that's what these episodes are designed to be. It's like, how did you guys rebuild trust? And what did you do to show her you were serious? And like, how did you make her feel safe again? How did you acknowledge her pain without drowning in shame? And a lot of you guys have questions about this stuff. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. But for just a moment, I wanted to brag on my wife, who's the greatest person I've ever met in my entire life. I wouldn't be here today without her. I know I wouldn't be. She inspires me every single day to be a better man. She inspires me every single day to be the best version of me that I can be. She has always looked at me and seen something that I couldn't see. She's seen something great inside of me long before I ever had any proof that I could have done any of these things. Like, she saw so much potential in me, and she believed in me, and she was never shy about telling me how much she believed in me. And she was never shy about telling me how disappointed she was whenever I came up short, because she knew what I could be. And I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg. Was all that stuff true and I just couldn't see it because of my upbringing and my low self-esteem? Or did she plant those things in me and drive me to be something amazing? Like, were those things always there, or did she compel me to be this person? I just don't know. And I don't know. I like to think that in a lot of ways that she made something out of nothing from simply believing in me. And that's why she is the most special person in my life. And that is why I will never be able to do anything truly to repay what she's done for me in my life. I live every single day in honor of her and our children and our family, and becoming the man that I believe she deserves. That's why I do this work. That's why I get up in the mornings. That's why I work late nights. That's why I push even when no one else can. I keep going till the wheels fall off. That's why I keep going. She's my reason. So shout out to you, Paige. I love you more than anything in the world. Happy 25th anniversary. I can't wait to do another 25. It's going to be awesome. So cool. All right. Quickly, I want to talk about SoberLink, and then we'll get into these questions. SoberLink, we're going to talk about rebuilding trust in this relationship, and rebuilding trust for so many of you. That's like maybe one of the most common questions I get. Like, how do you rebuild trust? In the beginning, you are not going to rebuild massive relational trust until you have some of the basics out of the way. Like, man, she can't even trust you not to drink. Do you think she's going to trust you with her innermost secrets, or holding space for her pain, or any of that stuff? Like, we've got to take care of the immediate stuff. In the beginning, you have to get sober because the sobriety is what makes this work possible. That's it. Like, it makes it possible. It's a ticket to entry into the growth show. That's all it is. So how do we start to rebuild some of that basic trust? SoberLink is an awesome tool. I don't even think it was around whenever I was going through this. I did this the old-fashioned way, but I am a believer that SoberLink can help you expedite that process. Here's how it works. You get a device. You set up people in a network to get notified every single time you use it. What's cool about this is that it gives you some level of accountability. So when it's easy to just disappear from the office a little early, or slip a drink on the way home, maybe you hide a bottle under the seat in your truck, whatever it might be, you know that people are going to get notified. And so it does give you some accountability. It also gives you support. When they're now in the know and they're getting notified every day when you use this thing and it shows that you're still sober, you're going to get texts from people. People are going to put their arm around your shoulder or around your neck, and they're just going to tell you, dude, I'm so proud of you. I'm watching. I'm not saying anything, but I'm watching these emails that come through. I just want to tell you how proud of you I am. That feels amazing. It feels so good. It also gives your spouse and partner transparency and visibility they've never had before, because you've been lying. You've been lying. And so how do you make them start to feel safe again? Give them visibility. Your words have lost meaning. Trust is lost in buckets. It's rebuilt in droplets. SoberLink is a tool you can use to help rebuild that trust. They can trust because it's also got military grade facial recognition technology. So you can't put a photo of yourself in front of this thing. You can't have a friend use it. It's tamper proof. They can trust that when a test comes through, it was you using that device. And now for as little as $19 a month, you can rent these things. Go to soberlink.com/wheels to find out more about the monthly plans, how to get into one of these devices. For as little as $19 a month, you can start right now when you sign up for a 1-year plan. And since you're an awesome listener of this show, and since you use our link, they're going to send you $100. You can use it on whatever you want. You can use it on Tufo merch. You can use it on your bills. You can use it toward the monthly plan. Whatever you want to do, go to soberlink.com/wheels. We are a proud supporter of SoberLink, and we think it can be a really helpful tool. If it sounds like something you might be interested in, please go check it out to start to rebuild some of that fundamental trust. Speaking of trust, let's get into some of these questions that do deal with a bit of trust amongst other things. These are really good. These were pulled from DMs, emails over the last week or two, actually. I think it was been a few weeks. Man, that storm like really messed up my my sense of time, because I'm a creature of habit. I love routine. And so I worked from home a few days, which I hate doing, by the way. I feel like I work much more from home, and I need that separation, like that routine in my day. If you're someone that works from home, I don't know how you do it all the time. Like it is nice being able to sleep in later. It is nice not having to get dressed and whatnot, but the routine and like having a space for work and a space for home is, man, that's just crucial for me. I could never be a person, I don't think, that works from home full time. But I just kind of lost my bearings. I think it's been a couple weeks since the episode came out, talking to you guys, and I can't thank you enough again for all of you that listen, and you let me know that you're listening. That means everything to me. It really does. Thank you so much. All right. First question I got: what was the moment you finally realized you couldn't keep living the way you were, and even if it meant losing everything? I think there were a series of them. There wasn't like one big one. There was one last one, of course, but I think I had many of these over the years. I think what this is kind of alluding to anyway, that the way I look at rock bottom isn't some magical place where you lose everything and you finally get willing. I mean, for some people it is. It's the point at which we decide to stop digging. It's the point at which our threshold for pain is met, and we are like, this shit stops today. No more. But I would argue that anyone that struggled with substances or even a behavioral addiction has gone through several levels of this. There are things that you swore you would never do. Any of you. There are things with your substance or with your behavior, with your compulsion, addiction, whatever it might be, you swore you would never do, right? Let's say that you are someone who's got a problem with porn, and it starts, quote unquote, innocently enough, right? You're looking at it on the computer, on TV or phone or whatever it might be, but you're like, I would never cross that line where I would start using escorts or something like that, until you do. And then you do, and you think that that will be the thing that sets you off. But no, you just find a way to rationalize again, and you keep going. Drugs, alcohol kind of work the same way. There were, like, I remember when I was really young, like first starting to dabble with substances, I was probably like 19 or 20. And I was like, I'll never, ever get high on a holiday. And like, that was a hard line for me. You don't have a lot of responsibilities at 19. Like, stay sober on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are supposed to be days with your family. And I remember I started doing that. That was like the first one I can ever remember. Small example, but I did it. And then I was like, damn, man, I'm disappointed in myself. But it's easier just to keep going than it is to change. You feel like you can get it under control. No big deal. Our minds are amazing at rationalizing. Like, inside of my head is a factory, right? The left side of it manufactures bullshit all day long. And the right side of it buys that bullshit. I buy my own bullshit. I'm so good at doing that. I'm an amazing salesperson to my own worst ideas and rationalizations. That's what I do. My brain has got an amazing justifier inside of it. I think we all do this, right? And so there are events that come and go through your life. And like for me, I mentioned them earlier. Like, when I graduated college, I was supposed to be done. And then I graduated college. I remember watching my friends who graduated like a year before me, and they were going on and they were starting their careers. And I was like, damn, look at them growing up. Like, they're really doing their deal. And when I thought about stopping, like, I got really depressed, like really dark, really down. I couldn't imagine not using. I just couldn't. I could not imagine what life would look like. It really brought me to a dark place. And the only way I knew to treat those feelings was to use drugs and alcohol. So it just kept going, man. Then getting married was one, the career was one, like building a business. Like, I would never come to work that way. And then I did that. And so it was a series of these events over and over and over. I think the big one for me though was kids. It was kids. I always wanted to be a dad. From the time I was a little kid, I wanted to be a dad. I wanted to coach baseball and I wanted to be involved in whatever my daughter was doing. I always knew I'd have a little girl. And so whenever we got pregnant and we found out we were having a girl, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Like I wanted a little girl so much. I knew we'd have a boy because my family's nothing but boys. So I knew if we had kids, we would have at least one boy, but the girl was like a wild card. So when our daughter was born, I was like, man, I'm going to be the greatest girl dad of all time ever. And she was born, man. And I thought that when I held her for the first time, I would just snap out of it. I thought I would grow up. I thought I would wake up with resolve and I would just get my shit together. And I don't know what I thought. That's not the way it works though. When I got up that next morning, nothing had really changed except for this decision in front of me that had always been there. And it was like, are you ready to stop yet? Are you done yet? And my honest answer was, no, I'm not. I'm not done yet. See, the truth about addiction that we all don't really talk about or don't like to admit is that it's not really positive reinforcement and like just do better that gets you sober. Like, it's pain and it's consequences that get people to that point. You have to be in pain. I believe this. There is such a thing as too much pain. Some people don't make it out. I'm not denying that. And I'm not one of these like super tough love only kind of guys, but I think that there is an element of that is necessary. It's that internal shame that drives us to a point where it's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be this person anymore. And for me, this all came to a head because of lying. It was lying. I hated lying. I was really good at it, but I didn't like doing it. I had a conscience that made me feel like the biggest piece of shit in the entire world when I would look at my wife and this person she's so innocent and naive in the most sincere, amazing kind of way. Because she doesn't lie. And so she's not expecting to be lied to. And so it was easy to lie and get away with it. But the effect of that for me was I felt like the world's biggest POS. And so I remember lying to her and just every time she would buy one of my lies, I would just be like, I would die inside. I'm like, oh, God damn it, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you? You are a sorry son of a bitch. Like, look at her. She believes in you. She thinks the world of you and you're just lying to her. Like, grow up, be better, do better, get better, be honest. Whatever you have to do, you need to do it. And the final, I guess, about 18 months of me using, it coincided with her pregnancy and the first 9 months of my daughter's life. This is when shit got real for me, is when I became a dad. The first 9 months of her life, or the Paige's pregnancy, those 9 months were supposed to be in my mind when I got it together and when I got sober. I was going to stop drinking at the moment that she got pregnant. I was going to do that with her, and I was going to quietly, she didn't have any idea how bad my drug problem was, but I was going to figure this out on my own. You know, like, I think for guys, we feel like we cannot ask for help, and it is up to us to shoulder the burden of feeling whatever we feel. Don't make it anyone else's problem. I can shoulder this. I can handle this. I can fix this. I took a lot of pride in that. I learned that from my dad, watching him do that. I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the exact same way. And I'm sure a lot of you women do too, especially those of you who have had to carry all of this shit without any help or support. You know exactly what I mean. So it's not just a guy thing. I think it's more common with guys though. Just don't talk about these things. And so I wasn't going to tell her about it. I wasn't going to tell her how bad this shit had gotten. And so, you know, I don't know. I thought it was going to fix itself. I like half-assed attempts to stop drinking, and I would just stop drinking during the weeks. And then I would only drink on like the weekends. And she gave me that grace, even though I told her and promised her I wouldn't drink at all. And then, you know, a weekend would turn into like a random Thursday. And then that random Thursday would turn into freaking 7 nights a week again. And I just could not stop the pills. I tried so many times. The withdrawals were terrible. I tried Suboxone. I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried tapering myself more times than I can count. But as soon as I got that stuff in my body, man, I couldn't. I needed more. I needed that feeling to be stronger. I could not deal with the boredom of life. It was just so vanilla. And like, I could not deal with day-to-day shit of just being an adult like everyone else seemed to do. And so I just felt like I needed a little salt in my life. And so I don't know. This first 9 months were like kind of the moment at which I realized I was not going to be able to fix this on my own. Inevitably, I was going to have to be honest about this. But I sat there contemplating change. We've talked about the stages of change model on our show before, and I think it's fitting. I was in this pre-contemplation phase, and then I was in contemplation for like the first 9 months that she was pregnant with our daughter. And then when our daughter was born, man, I thought that would be the thing. Like now I have the pressure. Now I have to get serious. Now I have something to run toward and something to run away from. And that's how motivation works. And I'll get better. And it didn't. But what did get better was the pain I felt every single day in not showing up the way I'd promised. And Paige now beginning to recognize how little I was helping. Like it became more apparent than ever. Now we've got this little girl around and I am not present. I'm never around. I'm not doing any of the stuff that I swore I would do our entire lives. And I can't hide it anymore. And she's starting to pick up on it. And I'm having to lie more and more. And like the little tiny lies over time just destroyed me, man. Then it started to affect our finances. We were incredibly broke, like seriously broke. We both had great jobs, making more money than most people need and still broke as can be. Like overdraft fees, and lucky to have $100 in the account. It was just terrible. Finally came to a head just one day. One day it came to a head. I was in Las Vegas on a business trip and I would, blacked out and withdrew all the money from our account that I wasn't supposed to and blew it at a casino. And there's a sound in a woman's voice and there's a look in her eyes. Every guy knows this when they're done. They're not mad. They're not disappointed. They're just done. They're over it, man. They've already thought all this through and now they are done. And my wife was at that point and I knew it. She didn't even have to say anything. I knew it. And before she could tell me I'm leaving, I told her, I need to go to rehab. I have a serious problem and I'm sorry and I don't know what to do. And I hate to spring this on you, but I need fucking help. I don't know what's next, but I know I need help. And I guess she had just enough patience in her to give me a shot. That's what got me. And I think everyone has their own version of this story. Everyone does. There will be a million signs that you need to stop. And at some point, you need to start listening to those signs. At some point, you have got to recognize the stuff before you ruin it all. Here's what I think is interesting about my story. I never wanted to tell my story. Like I always feel weird whenever treatment centers or like even 12-step groups ask me to come talk to a group because I don't feel like it's severe enough. But I think that there's a lot of value on the inverse of that, because what I think is interesting and cool about my story is that I am proof that you don't have to lose everything before you fix this shit. You don't have to lose everything. You don't have to get in that much pain. You can get in enough pain to drive real change without completely burning down the village. I'm proof of that. And I think that's what's cool. And that should give you a ton of hope. And I've also seen guys burn it all down. I know guys that have gone through a couple marriages, several families, prison, you name it. And they were able to do it too. It's a longer road. It's a harder road. But what I'm proof of is that you don't have to wait until everything is completely gone for you to get better. And I knew as well, like that was when I came forth with that information, that very well could spell the end for everything. Like the jig is up, it's over, you're done, your marriage is done, this is finished. She will not want to be with you, be with you. She will not want to be one of those people, one of those weird couples where one of them went to rehab and like we would just be like scarlet letter branded for the rest of our lives. And she didn't want to do that. And she could just leave me. I knew that, but I didn't care. I had to do this. It was more about like, this was a drive from within to survive. This was like that little part of me that still wanted to live, screaming out for help. And whether or not she stuck around, I was going to do this work. I've wrote something recently and talked about this where it didn't matter what she said. It didn't matter what she did. If she left and met someone else, I was going to keep doing this. And I was going to be so excellent at it that she would have looked in the mirror one day and said, "Oh my God, I cannot believe I left that guy. He was amazing. I'm an idiot." Maybe that sounds terrible, but that's how committed I was, really. I was going to make her regret it. That's how committed I was. And I just got to work. I just got to work. I did not care about anything or what I would lose. I was going to do it. I was certain that if I could put this together, everything would be fine. I was also certain that if I didn't, I would not last another 2 months. I was ready to end it all. I was done. Next question. It's a good one, by the way. Thank you for that. I'm terrified that if I get sober, I'm going to be boring, lonely, and miserable. Did you feel that way too? Yeah, 100%. I think that's everyone's fear when you first get sober, is that you're never going to have fun again. Vacations for the rest of your life will suck. Sex will be boring. Like everything in your life will suck. In the beginning, that's kind of true, to be honest with you. Everyone's got their own varying experience with this. My experience is that I never really allowed myself to be bored. I didn't know how to be bored because I was always on something. I always had an altered state of mind. Life is not supposed to be crazy and exciting all the time. There are ups and there are downs. That's life. That is life. Here's one thing I can guarantee you about being sober is that it may not always be more fun, but it's always more meaningful. You will learn lessons. You will be present for every bit of it. You will remember everything. And through that, you will experience for your emotions from the beginning all the way to the end, and you're going to learn lessons, and you're going to be able to impart wisdom on your children and other people that have meaning in your life, and you're going to be someone that people can look up to. And you will not be able to do that as long as you keep using. You just won't. And so getting sober in the beginning, it's different, man. It's really different. I didn't know what any of these feelings even were. I was feeling stuff, and like I laughed when I should have been crying, and I cried when I should have been laughing. And one minute I'd be awesome, and the next minute I'd be down. But I stuck close to the process that got me sober, and things balanced out. It took a while. Like that first year is really, really tough. The first 90 days is easy in hindsight. The first year is tough. It's really tough. You have ups and downs and so much uncertainty. Can I do this? But like once you get that year, you're like, oh, damn, like I can actually do this. And then the trick is don't stop doing what you did to get you there. Keep doing more, even, as a matter of fact. Keep building on that. And my experience has been that sobriety, I have more passion, more love, more intimacy, more fun in my life than I ever did using. Using was a blur. There were moments, highlights, but for the most part, I don't really remember it. The life I've had in sobriety is infinitely better. There are moments that are lower than low, but there are also moments that are the highest highs I've ever felt. And there's far more balance just between the two. And I allow myself to experience emotions from their beginning all the way to their end. I process sadness and shame and anger and fear. And I allow myself to feel joy and presence and motivation. And I achieve goals and I do all kinds of amazing things. And I have the full breadth of emotional intelligence now because I got sober and started to pay attention to this stuff. And getting through that is, man, like that's what maturity is. That's what being an adult is. And if you have children, like that's your job as a parent, is to be able to impart wisdom on your children as they're experiencing this stuff because it's their first time living too. You're the guide. You're supposed to be the one with more experience here. If you're using, you're not getting those experiences, not to the same level that you would if you're sober. So yeah, at times it can be kind of boring. Like I used to love tropical locations. I don't like beaches anymore. Beaches are so effing boring to me because what do you do on beaches? Like you sit out in the sun and you drink, man. Like for me, you know, I like going out there and I like walking on my hands, like walking handstands around the sand, and I'll play football and play around with the kids, and I like running on the beach. But at some point I'm like, okay, I'm bored. I got to be moving and doing something. I still go on tropical vacations, like for my kids, like they love it. And so I go there like with them, but I like the mountains. I like hiking. I like doing fun, like exciting stuff. I do think that maybe in a bit of an adrenaline junkie in some ways, like I need to stay entertained. But that's also what keeps life interesting now. So yeah, like I remember the first time I got bored in sobriety and I called my mentor and I'm like, dude, I feel weird. He's like, that's called boredom, dude. That's serenity. Why don't you try to enjoy it? I was like, damn, this is wild. Like I have the choice to do something or not. And I'm just sitting here. I'm just being present. I'm just sitting with things and feelings and emotions and silence. And it was crazy and it was cool. And it was different than when I was using, because when I was using, it didn't feel like a choice. I feel like that was kind of like my normal. It's just to be in that zone. And I never really was bored because I was always high or drunk or something. But getting sober, I started to feel things, and it was awesome. It was really cool. I don't stay bored very often. Leave me to my own devices and I will find something to do. Hell, this show came out of boredom, like the podcast. Like I'm an entrepreneur and I love building businesses and building things and writing, and I can't sit still. So that's what I found. I've got this energy and it's got to go somewhere. Fitness is another one. Like, you'll find stuff. You'll find awesome passions. I cannot wait to see what you do with that. In the beginning though, man, it's tough. Just know that it's the price to pay. It's okay. It's going to be fine. Next up, is a good one. My wife is pulling away and I don't know if it's already too late. How did you deal with the fear that your wife might leave even though you did everything right? There is such a thing as a total relationship. Something I think that was luck in a lot of ways is that I decided to change. I decided to go to treatment, get sober, and rebuild before she ran out of patience. Remember, we were young, guys. I got sober on my 27th birthday, the day before it. And so, all things considered, pretty young still. Like, we didn't have a 30, 40-year history of this, even a 20-year history. The worst part of my addiction was about 18 months. 18 months. Before that, it was, you were in your early 20s too. Like, what were you doing in your early 20s? Like, everyone was partying a little too hard, And so you could kind of get away with it. When you crest 25, it's like, okay, it's kind of time to grow up now. Grow up. 26, 27, like I'd promised her I'm going to get better. And like, I wasn't. She was maturing way faster than me. And so I don't know what the age is, but there is a certain point at which you are just so fed up and you have so many bad experiences that you can't imagine what good even looks like anymore, or how you even get back there. There is such a thing. Man, I think we got lucky in some ways because we were young. So I wasn't too concerned, honestly, that I felt like she still had enough patience and I still had enough time. Now, let's say that I was doing this right now. I would be scared to death. I would be so fearful that she's been done for 10 years and just hasn't said anything. I would be scared to death. Like, oh my God, like, can old dogs really learn new tricks? What I want to leave you with, the comfort, is that I have seen more people get through this than I can count. I've also seen a lot more that didn't make it out. But there are people that do it. There are. It's a matter of how much time has passed, how much pain have you endured, how much change are you willing and capable of. That is different for everybody. What are the things that have transpired in your relationships? Has there been a lot of physical abuse? Has there been a lot of infidelity? Those things make a difference. We didn't have that stuff. And I think that stuff matters. Yeah, there are probably a lot of relationships out there that when you get sober, your wife will realize at that point, I can't do it. I thought that you getting clean and you fixing these behaviors would fix us, but it's just, I can't get over this stuff. And that happens. I don't think it should change what you decide to do, though. If you have children, you still got to be a great father. You're still going to have to co-parent. You still got life ahead of you, no matter what happens with your relationship. Your recovery, your sobriety, and your growth should never be contingent on your marriage working out. So this is almost the wrong question in a lot of ways. You should do this work no matter what. If you do this work, there's a good chance that your relationship will get better, that your relationship can heal. If you don't, I guarantee it won't work. You could do this work and there's also a chance that it doesn't work out. So look at your odds. It makes more sense to do the work. If you don't do the work, here's what my fear is for you. I'm scared of what you'll be like when you have no more guardrails. I'm scared what you'll be like whenever you have nothing else to keep you in check. You with yourself is probably a really, really dangerous thing. That's my fear for you. Also, we don't talk about this a lot, but this happens too, where there's been such a pattern of abuse and dysfunction in the relationships over the years, where even after sobriety, that environment is cooked. And sometimes people restart with new partners and new lives, and they end up being much healthier separately than they were ever together or could be together, because that pattern is just so deeply ingrained in them. But man, I think that you need to figure out what that looks like, and everyone needs to turn over every stone in order to figure that out. So do all the things, listen to the show together. If you're a spouse or partner, we've got our program, Reclaiming You. Work through that. Show up with us on Wednesdays, talk through this stuff, see what you can fix on your end of things. If you're like, we've had Dr. Jake Porter on the show several times. I think he is the master at helping couples recover. If there is recovery from infidelity, that's the guy that I would call. There are things you can do. Give them a shot. You owe that to each other and your children to give it a shot. But at some point, you need to make a decision. And I don't think your growth should be contingent on whether or not someone gets well or doesn't, or if this relationship works out or doesn't. I think in some ways we got lucky. I think in other ways we did a lot of work, man. We did everything we were supposed to do. Both of us did. And that means something. That means something. All right. How did you, oh wait, is this the next one? Oh, this is like a real sobriety question. I don't get these a lot. This is a good one though. What did you do? What did you actually do when the cravings hit hard? Not theory. What did you do at like 9 p.m. when your brain was screaming at you? I was in treatment for the first 30 days, which is really helpful. I was in a really safe environment where I didn't have the option to use. I couldn't call someone. I couldn't go somewhere. I guess I could have checked out, but that would have been a nightmare. Hang on, let me get a drink. And so I was in a really safe environment for those first 30 days, which was tough. I know plenty of people that have done it without treatment. I know treatment isn't an option for some people. It's incredibly expensive. It's wildly expensive. So a lot of people do this the old-fashioned way. Cravings are interesting. Cravings don't last nearly as long as we would think they do, even as powerful as they feel at times. They're short-lived. I think like 7 to 9 minutes or something like that. Could be wrong. I know it's less than 15 though, but it's a short period of time. So I would have actionable things that I would do. And in the beginning, honestly, here's what I did. It's the laziest way possible. I ate sugar. I gained like 80 pounds my first year sober. I was a mess physically, but spiritually and emotionally, I was in the greatest shape ever. I would also journal. I journaled a lot. I would meditate. I would pray a lot. I would make gratitude lists. That was a big one too. Like whenever I felt that urge to use, a lot of times it was driven by feeling down about my life and myself, and it was like compounding the issue. And so I would, in any way I could get positive, like, good feel good endorphins and oxytocin and those awesome feel good hormones going, I would do it. And so gratitude lists were a huge way that I did this in the beginning. The exercise is incredible too. Like there have been evenings, like especially early on, where I felt like, damn, like I feel that hunger kind of coming up. Like, damn, I feel like I could really go for an altered state of mind right now. I would exercise. I would do something like, and it was, again, they're short lived, and I would always be proud of myself for getting through them. And then I think every time you get through them, you become more confident that you can do it the next time, and your cravings don't become so scary anymore. Like really, I don't even think about it really anymore. Craving. I don't really have cravings. I have thoughts that come up now, but I dismiss them very quickly. I think about like, where did that come from? I always examine it like, wow, where did that come from? Have I gotten off of my routine lately? Have I been allowing some intrusive thoughts in lately without checking them? Am I being dishonest? Have I been selfish lately? Am I scared of something? Have I not been exercising? Am I not eating right? Am I not taking care of my body? Whatever it might be, like I examine it. And a lot of times there is a root cause. I found sometimes they'll randomly pop up. Tends on vacation, they'll pop up a lot. I'll see like, cause I'll be in the best state, I'm like, God, this is amazing. Like we're away from work and just being present in the world. What would make this even better? Whatever that guy's drinking over there. And I'll look across the room and then I'm like, dude, that guy's having a drink with his family at dinner. You never drink like that, bro, ever. Like be real with yourself. And then I just kind of laugh about it. And that's right. That's not an option for me. Never was and probably never will be. And that's just, okay. I'm totally cool with that, man. I don't need that to have fun. I was built, I come stock with an extra amount of energy that makes me just as fun as anyone who's 4 beers in. But dude, there are a million ways to get through this stuff. I think Smart Recovery has got some amazing, like, not theory tools about how to get through cravings. If you go to Smart Recovery's website, they've got some awesome exercises in there about how to work through cravings, about how to like discover where they're coming from, about what we're going to do with them. You keep a log and you study that, go through it, and it empowers you that you can get through this stuff and helps examine where these come from. And it doesn't make it so big and scary anymore. But sometimes also I would reach out for help. I would pick up the phone, and the phone feels so heavy in those moments, but I would pick up the phone and I would call a friend and be like, dude, I'm just feeling a little weird. And he knew what I meant. And they would just talk. We would just talk just for a few minutes. We would get off topic. We would be talking about baseball or something. And I would get distracted, talk about business, whatever. And then I would feel better. Like, thanks, dude. I feel awesome. Like, I'm so glad that I didn't succumb to that. And I just feel awesome. And that's how I get through the cravings. Everyone's got their own process for it. Mine oftentimes was nothing more than distraction. I would distract myself in some ways. And then I would consciously kind of work through, where did that come from? I wouldn't just completely ignore it, because I needed to know. I needed to have information and knowledge about myself, where it came from, what I did with it, what would work the next time. And then I built confidence over time. And like, now I'm like, dude, I dare you, bring me a craving. I'll whip your ass, kill your craving. Like, I'm not worried about them. You'll get to that point too. Next one. How did you find patience when you were changing, but your relationship wasn't fixing itself fast enough? Man, I think I see this question a lot. I didn't really, at the time anyway, I never felt this way. I felt like I knew that this was going to take forever. Like, I never felt like, oh, I'm better now, you should be better, we should be better. I never, like, I was really humble to this journey, and I was really willing to, I looked at it like a marathon. And I think that this comes up a lot because change feels a lot bigger than it actually is in reality to us. You can go through so many massive changes in the course of 30 days internally, but externally to other people, they're still seeing you as basically the same old same. They've seen you go through these 30-day periods where you're like trying to get better, and they've probably not trusting this. And why would they? Because they have a pattern over the last 20 years with you that shows them that this is a fling. This is just one of his things. He'll start, he'll give up, things will go back to normal, and I'll keep being miserable. And so, but to us, it feels massive. Like, think about a diet, for instance. Like, you can change the weight you're eating. You can get rid of sugar and all the effects from sugar withdrawal, and you can start exercising and getting up early. And like, to you, these changes feel massive. The same thing with recovery and sobriety. You can go through all of the emotions of feeling your feelings for the first time in your adult life, and how big that feels internally. And not drinking is a major deal. It is a big deal, especially to other people who get it. But to everyone else, it's like, big deal, dude. And so you can't expect to other people. You just can't. Like, and I never did. I think that's what I'm getting at here, is I never expected other people to look at me as anyone other than someone that was doing what they were supposed to do. I hung around other guys that made me understand how big what I was doing was doing. I hung out with other people that truly were able to recognize how big this work really was and how meaningful it was. This was my sober support group that I hung out around. You know, I was in a 12-step AA group, and I was around guys every single day that I admired and who would tell you how amazing that was. And they would pick you up and tell you, dude, that's so awesome. This is what I think is so powerful about like 12-step communities. Say what you want about the process or how shitty they are, or anything else. Like, this was massive to me in the early days because I was around other people who made sobriety cool. Like, doing it alone is possible. It's just probably a hell of a lot less enjoyable. So if it's not AA, pick some kind of community, dude. Communities are massive. That can be online. I recommend in person though, like, get coffee together, like, experience what it is like to be like in someone else's presence. You listen more, you learn things. It's massive. Have your digital friends too. But man, I think, I never expected my wife to just forgive me day one. I didn't. And you shouldn't either. I never expected her to act like none of this stuff ever happened. I never expected her to say, okay, we're good to go, forgive. and let's just move on. Everything's fine. I never did that. I knew that this would be a years long process, and I was fully willing to engage in that work and see what that looked like years and years later down the road. I think for a lot of people, though, you can undergo a lot of internal changes that feel massive to you, and you expect your environment and the people around you to feel the same, and they don't, and they won't. And why would they? Because they're not you. It's helpful to have other people that really understand that journey, and that's other people who have been there before. Your friends and your family, your spouse, your partner will come around eventually, but they've got to see change for a pretty prolonged period of time. Think in terms of 6 to 9 months before they're like, you're different. Something's different about you. It's not going to be a week or 2 weeks or even really 90 days. Maybe 90 days when you start to see some changes in people, but then you get years down the road and like now you're really starting to take off and you're growing and you start to gain the respect of people back and admiration of people back. And this becomes a big deal when this is all about the way you measure it, I think. Now, having said that, if you are 5 years in this deal and it's still not getting better, this could be one of those relationships where it could be cooked. It could be totaled. There could be too much damage. It's possible. It's possible that you have broken them and the relationship is broken too. And you will be better off walking different journeys. Possible. I've seen that happen. I don't know from experience, but I've seen that happen with people. And they got healthier when they got apart. They got into new relationships and they're incredibly happy and they're in healthy relationships. That happens for people too. So I think that you should just focus on the work and let other people decide when it's time to get better. But remember, this stuff did not get this way overnight and it will not fix itself overnight. Like with me and my wife, remember, there's a period of time there for about 10 years where I'm using and I'm drinking all the time and I'm lying and I'm being a total asshole. It took, I think, honestly, about that long before she feels like we're back to neutral, like feels really safe in our relationship, totally safe with me. Maybe not like to the day, but about that long. Like people have to have enough good experiences with us to offset those bad. It's not going to happen right away. So if you feel like I'm changing, but I don't feel like this relationship's changing fast enough, what's the point? You need to be patient and you're doing the work for the wrong reasons if that's what you're measuring. You should care about how you're changing internally, how you're showing up, living by your values, being the person that you aspire to be, not just how other people treat you. That's transactional. That's not how this works. They will come around, but you've got to show up. That's the way I look at it. Next one. When did you start to feel like yourself again instead of someone just trying not to screw up? About a year, I think. About a year. And I think a lot of that was some of the physical changes and in the brain that take place in that first year of healing. Like alcohol and drugs damage your brain. They damage your brain. And your brain is amazing and plasticity occurs and your brain will start to heal. And your body will heal too, and you will get healthier and you will get more comfortable with your environment and other people. And you start to feel like you're kind of catching stride. It took about a year for me to start to feel like myself again. There were periods of time though, where I was like, oh crap, I feel amazing. Like even like 90 days in, I was like, this is how I remember feeling before all of this. But then I'd go through a kind of like a down period and then I would feel better again for a period of time. And then I'd go through another down period. And kind of like this anhedonia, and it was up and down for about the first year. And that's why I think it's really important that you stick to a really tight schedule and process, and you be very disciplined with your recovery. Very disciplined. Dude, the only thing I've ever done as prescribed in my entire life. Ask any doctor has ever given me a prescription. The only thing I've ever done as prescribed is the directives that I was given when I left treatment. So go here, do this, do that. Don't change the recipe. Don't fuck with it. Do that. And I did it and it worked. It worked. I was involved in recovery every single day in some way, shape or form. Every single day, man. But it took about a year. And then once I got a year, I was like, I can actually do this. Like that was a big one for me. I felt like I could never put a year sober together. And then I did. And that's when it got like really real for me. And it's massive, dude. At that point I was like, holy crap, like I belong at the adults table now. I can sit amongst other adults and have conversations. And I think it was really empowering and built confidence for me in some ways. But at the same time, I had a ton of humility, and there was still so much I knew that I didn't know. And so, but I think physically started to feel more like myself. My brain was gone through some of the roughest parts of healing, and post-acute withdrawal and all that stuff had passed. And I'm like, okay, I can like do this thing now. And it just gets a little bit better every year. And then before you know it, you'll be that person that you always dreamed you could be and more. It just takes time. Give it some time. It's not going to feel right for me, anyone, my experience, for about a year. But you'll have periods of time that will get you hopeful. You will go through little like short-lived periods. Like it's like someone opens a door and you can see inside, and then it closes again. But those little glimpses, man, they will hook you. They will keep you coming back. All right. How do you live with the guilt of what you did while you were using without drowning in it? This has been a tough one for me. I've gone through this back and forth many times as I kind of peel back the onion and look at the different layers of how I affected other people, my wife especially. You know, in the beginning, I think it's like an ER triage. Like, let's fix the most immediate things, right? I have to stop lying. I have to take accountability for the ways that I hurt you. I have to stop using drugs and alcohol. I've got to take care of that stuff. And then once you've got stability, now there's other injuries that need attention if you want to have a long, healthy life. Like, dude, like that ACL that you just blew isn't going to like kill you, but like it's going to affect your quality of life. And the relationship kind of worked like that. So once I'd really established stability, then it was about peeling back layers to figure out, okay, let's see what's what. Let's take an inventory and figure out what's going on and what patterns have developed in her as a result of my behaviors and me lying to her. In what ways have I changed the way that she thinks and trusts people and sees herself even? And that was a little by slow process, because it really wasn't, this was work that she was having to do internally and I was having to hold space for. And all I could really do was just keep showing up and keep being honest and keep holding space and being empathetic and being honest with her. And she was dealing with the damage of me. And that, it chokes me up now, man. That's so hard. I think about who she could have been without ever meeting. Like, if you never met me, what would you be like? And I think about that. Like, what kind of person could she have been had she never met me? Would she be better? Like, would she be happier in a different life where she'd never come across me? And I can still think about that to this day, 13 years later, and it kills me. So I don't know if you ever completely get past it. I don't know. But I've found a way to forgive myself in some ways. She's found a way to forgive me in some ways, but it's still raw. And I think it should be in some ways, because it keeps me from, like, it keeps it really fresh that I can't go back to being that person. This is how serious this work is of becoming a better man, a better husband, a better father. That's how serious this stuff is. It affects other people. It's not just me that gets hurt. It's her, and it's our kids. It's not just me. And that's, I think, important work. And that's the work that so many people overlook. Now, you have to be able to metabolize that shame. Like what I'm feeling right now, it's shame and it's regret and it's guilt. But I don't hate myself. I don't think it's something that I can't ever fix. In some ways, I feel like I deserve to feel this way, Matt. Like this is a normal emotion to feel when you've done bad things to people. This is a way to honor someone else's pain, is by showing them and truly feeling like all the way through how bad that was. This is me reminding myself, don't do that again. But it doesn't mean that I hate myself, or I never do the work, or I just give up, or what's the point of that? You know, so I don't know if you completely ever get past it. I just don't. I think that there are periods of time where you're going to be able to deal with it rather easily. There are other periods of time where you're going to be more reflective and it's really tough. But you know, my wife has always been amazingly resilient, and she's been incredible through this. Like, she will not call herself a victim. She doesn't look at herself as a victim, even though she is a victim of me and my behavior over those years for so long. And she inspires me because she doesn't beat herself up for allowing that treatment or anything like that. She doesn't beat herself up for what she could have done differently. without a time machine, there's nothing I can do to go back and fix the past. So what good does it do to sit there and just constantly kick my ass about it? I look forward. Like, how good could I be if I didn't think about how bad I was currently? So I think about, what can I do now? What can I do tomorrow? What can I do moving forward to never be that person again, to honor those past events and truly hold space for everything that developed as a result of them. And I think that that's what you do. I think that's the only way you get through it. You never get to a point where it's like, whatever, big deal. You never get there. And I don't think you should. This shit's serious. In the beginning, it's tough. You have to, because you're not going to have much of a filter for metabolizing shame. You're going to go straight from shame to, I'm a horrible person. And what you will develop as you develop self-love again is you will develop shame to, ooh, that's a horrible place. That's a horrible thing. That is not who I want to be. And you'll be able to categorize that in kind of this old version of yourself. That's who I was. And then you'll have this new version of you that you're building toward that it kind of gives you hope that things can get better. But at the same time, there are relationships that we can completely break and people that we can completely ruin. And you'll probably sit with that for the rest of your life. You will probably sit with that to some degree for the rest of your life, especially if that relationship, like, you didn't get a chance to repair like I did. You'll always have to hold spot for that. And that'll be a painful thing that you just, life will be full of these things. There are regrets. There are people that have passed, things we wish we could have said or could have done, and we didn't. And you can just paralyze yourself with regret or shame. But what's the point? How does that make us more useful to those same people if they give us a chance, or to other people that we can have an impact on in our lives, or just for us, for the sake of who we decide to be? It doesn't do us any good. That's a tough one. Keep going, man. Next up, what did becoming a better man cost you that you didn't expect to lose? When I first got this question, I was like, what does that mean? What did become a better man cost you that you didn't expect to lose? I thought that becoming a better man was about ego in a lot of ways. I thought, like, it's about suck it up and just move forward. Just go. And in some ways it is, but I think what I mean by ego is like being full of myself and like, this is all, like, I'm going to do this great thing. And then there's this other side that popped out, which was humility. And humility is what really led the charge. It was in everything I didn't know and was curious about that really excelled me forward and motivated me to move forward. And what I lost was the ego. Like, it wasn't willpower that got me here. There were moments of that, sure. But for the most part, it was like curiosity and humility and what I don't know. And just this true understanding that, like, I don't know shit. And I would tell you today, it drives Paige crazy. She's like, why don't you think anything of yourself? I'm like, because I don't know anything. Like, I believe that. Like, I know so much. I'm so disgustingly self-aware about what I don't know. And I'm just incredibly curious. I'm driven by the curiosity to understand more about myself and other people and relationships in the world and the way that my mind works and other people's work and everything. And like, that's what gets me going. And I don't have any confidence in myself or my ego whatsoever that motivation is going to get me there. It's just, I thought it would be like me leading the charge, and it was actually me abandoning myself that kind of led the charge, if that makes sense. I lost, I think it was like ego death. Like, I really killed it. I killed my ego and rebuilt from scratch with humility. I still, to this day, that's what leads to the charge. Paige has always beat me up about this. Like, if you had just a little bit self-belief, you could do anything you want to do in this world. But I have very little. And I think that I probably could stand to use a little more and be a little more gentle with myself. But at the same time, this has been working really well for me, and I'm comfortable in this place. I don't think I'll ever be like a look at me, awesome confidence kind of bro ever. And I'm cool with that. So I thought that's what was going to get me to this place when I first started, but it's actually what I ended up losing. Didn't expect that. Did not expect that. But I think that that's a good thing. Frankly, I do. Next up, did you ever feel like Paige deserved better than you? And how do you not let that thought destroy you? Kind of back to that one about who could she be if she'd never met me? Yeah, it crosses my mind sometimes. I look at her a lot and I'm like, I don't deserve this woman. I don't deserve this life. I don't deserve this family. But here I am. And someone thinks I do. Something. Maybe I do. She would tell you that I do. But yeah, it crosses my mind sometimes. I don't let it destroy me too much. I let it motivate me. I let it drive me. I look at her and think about that stuff a lot. And then I think, okay, well, if she could go back in time and get rid of me and find her ideal, perfect husband, what qualities would that guy have? I just try to become him. That's what I'm doing in a roundabout way. I'm trying to become the absolute best version of a partner that she could ever have, while also understanding that I could probably never be exactly that, but pretty freaking close. And that's what drives me. That's what keeps me going, is trying to be the best version of me possible for her, for my family, for myself. Last one. If you could go back to the version of you who was terrified, addicted, and about to lose everything, what would you tell that guy? I don't know, man. I've thought about this more times than I can count. If I could go back in time, what would I tell that guy? I think that it takes what it takes for us to get to where we are. And so I look at my life and I look at everything that transpired, and it took what it took for me to get to this point. I think, all things considered, I had a pretty high bottom compared to a lot of other people. If I could go back in time, I would tell me when I was young, I needed intervention really young when I was a kid. I needed a better role model around me when I was a kid. I needed people around me really showing me the dangers of drugs and alcohol and how serious this stuff was. I didn't have that, you know. I wish I would have. I don't know if that would have really done anything, but I feel like possibly. I needed to have my ass kicked by life in a million ways to get to where I am today. I would have gone back and told that kid that you need to get your shit together, because you know, and I know that there's something inside of you that's amazing and it's great. And if you keep on this path, you're never going to get to meet him, ever. You will be on your deathbed and you will be haunted by the ghost of who you could have been. Haunted by the version of you that got married and had amazing children and built a successful business and lived. And instead, you'll have none of that. And I would have picked him up, hugged him, told him that you are already enough, but let's be better. Let's grow. Let's do this thing. And instead of just kind of being blindly led and figuring it out on my own, I wish I would have had another guy around me or other guys around me that picked me up and like really, really led me. And I credit like who I am today to just a few people. Like really, there were a handful of people that were instrumental in my life of even getting me to where I am today. You know, my best friend growing up, his name's Bird. He's amazing. Paige, another group of friends that I've had growing up, you know, all those guys, they were huge. Like they came from different family backgrounds and they showed me what hard work really was. And they were amazing role models in a lot of ways. They didn't have the same problems with addiction that I did, you know, so they used like I did, like with me, but I always took things a step further. They always knew when to stop. They could moderate. I just always really admired them. And they taught me about fiscal responsibility at a young age. They showed me what it was to do the right thing. And I didn't grow up with that, you know, and I wish I would have had someone with me. That's why I make these episodes, is because if you don't have that person in your life, I will be that friend for you. I'll be that guy. I'll be your boy. I will be your friend that will help get you through this and inspire you and have those awesome mushy conversations, but also tell you to get your ass in gear and do the fucking work. And let's go hard and let's do this thing together. It's going to be fine. Be hopeful. It's going to be okay. I wish I had more support like that, I guess. But for the most part, everything had to happen for me to get to where I am today. I know that that's true. I had to go through that specific amount of pain. And in some ways I said, I think we also got lucky. But that's what I've got for this episode. It's been a fun one. This is just crazy. 25 years with Paige and this relationship. And I think it's so cool that we get to share this with other people now. When we started Tufo, I think in the beginning, that's what the show was supposed to be. It was the lessons we had learned. You know, there was a massive lesson we learned through addiction and recovery that became kind of the center of our show. But it's every lesson we've learned as a couple in growing up together and being together for 25 years. 25 years, from 14 years old as a chubby kid with blonde frosted tips to who I am today with a gray beard and a receding hairline, you know, and everything in between, and two amazing kids and the life we've built and the show and the business we created outside of this and the home we've built, everything. It's incredible. 25 years together, and I would not rather do it with anyone else. She is the greatest person in the entire world to me. And my favorite thing about her is that she knows exactly who she is. She knows what she stands for, and she is unapologetic about that. Paige has taught me so much about life. I know that she's taught you guys a ton as well. So thanks for being on this journey and sharing just this small slice of this, you know, from 2022, if you've listened from the very beginning to now here in 2026, this last 4-year period, you guys have gotten an inside look at a small piece of this journey, but our goal is every week to show up and give you something that will help you along the way. We've learned a ton of lessons that we think can help people. We think that we do marriage right and that we do relationships right and communication right. And we see a lot of people that just don't have good examples. And so we've tried to be that for other people. We hope that you get something from it. And we cannot thank you enough for your support along the way and making all of this possible and showing up every week for yourselves and for us, and your financial support and your moral support and emotional support. Thank you all so freaking much. You're celebrating this anniversary with us. And for all the love we have for each other, we love all of you just the same. Thank you so much for showing up this week. Till next time, I'm Matt, and I'll see you.